Don't tell me about me. Stop telling 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 me about me. I don't need you to tell me about me.
Man, we back again. Let me get my Otis. Come on, Otis. Come on, Otis. Come on up in here. Yep. Needed, Otis, needed, Otis, needed. Otis, let me turn down a little bit, though. A little bit too much Otis. A little bit too much Otis, man. Look, man, welcome back, y'all, to another episode. Let's talk with Jay vs. Jordan, man. Look, if y'all watching over on the JVJ Network, welcome back. You watching over on Let's Talk on Facebook side, welcome back. If you watching over on Let's Talk with JVJ on YouTube, welcome back. Welcome back. Y'all already know how I go down over here, man. Hey, y'all know I got to go through my little spiel and everything at the very beginning, and I'm going to do it every time because guess what? We on the mission and we trying to grow. So do you boy a favor by hitting that like, hitting that subscribe, sharing the video, turning the notice on. We're trying to grow around here. Now, normally on Tuesdays, we would be covering some basketball stuff, but we did that last night. And I said, I'm going to switch it up, man. I'm going to switch it up. And we're about to talk about some things tonight. Well, mainly, I'm going to let Tim Wise talk about some things, man. I'm going to let him talk because he got some things he want to get off of his chest. And I don't have no problem with what he's talking about because we have some issues that are going on in this country that we need to address. Now, I know some people are not going to be as favorable. Like they're not gonna like this. I'm just like that. I ain't even finna try to say it in a fancy way or make it sound nice or some shit like that. A lot of people ain't gonna like this content that I'm about to display today. Y'all see that guy right there. But we're gonna talk about it nonetheless. So as usual, get your popcorn, get your weed, get whatever you need. Because we about to get it popping. And I hope y'all enjoy the show, man. I truly hope y'all enjoy it. But let's go ahead and get it. Tim Wise, you got the floor. Let's get it popping. Before we even do it, we got Hurricane up in the building. Salute the Hurricane. We got Marcus in the building. Salute the Marcus. Hurricane, I got to give you a wrench. Marcus been in here holding it down, but I gotta give you some help, Marcus. But let's get it popping.
Mortality data from 1999 to 2013. So it's 14 years of mortality data. And they were noticing something really interesting in the data. So if you know, typically in an advanced economy, mortality rates are generally always going to decline unless there's a epidemic or a natural disaster or something horrible happens. Your mortality rates are always going to generally be going in the positive direction, going down. Life expectancy is going to go down. Going to go up, and mortality rates are going to go down. But from 1999 to 2013, even though that was true for every group, it was true for Black folks. It was true for Latinx folks. It was true for most white folks. But there was one group of white folks for whom it wasn't true, and that was white, middle-aged, non-college educated, working-class white people. During the same period that literally every other demographic saw their mortality rates decline, this group saw their mortality rates skyrocket. Over a 13-year period, 500,000 excess deaths. 500,000 people who died who wouldn't have died if their mortality rates had gone in the same direction as every other group. And it wasn't just like they were having heart attacks or hardening of the arteries and strokes and stuff. These were people that were dying principally from three things: opioid overdoses, cirrhosis of the liver brought on by heavy drinking, and suicide. These were self-inflicted deaths. They're called them deaths of despair in the media. You probably heard that terminology. When I saw this study, I remember thinking, well, this is fascinating because if the issue is just despair, if the issue is just I'm hurting and I'm in pain, then why aren't Black and brown folks doing this? Because in every economic indicator, now I don't want to dismiss the pain that these white folks are in. They're suffering. Don't get me wrong. There are millions of white folks struggling in this country post-recession, have not come out of it yet. I'm not dismissing that. But there is no way of denying that Black and brown folks are worse off. Black wealth, 2/3 of Black wealth was wiped out during the recession. mostly because of housing valuation that was wiped clean. So if it was just about pain and economic misery and anxiety and despair, black and brown folks would be doing opioids in those same numbers. They would be killing themselves. They would be drinking themselves to death, and they're not. So explain to me why white folks are having a harder time dealing with despair than black and brown folks. And when you think about that answer to that question, you have just answered the riddle of why privilege is a setup in this country. And you have just answered the riddle as to why white folks ought to care about issues of equity. Because you see, when the society tells you that all you got to do is work hard and everything will work out, because that's what we tell people. Luckily, most black and brown folks know it's more complicated than that. Most black and brown folks never had the luxury of believing that, but white folks did. Even those white working class men who worked in the assembly lines and the factories and the coal mines, right? They had at least the belief in horizontal mobility. Right? Which means what? My granddaddy worked in the mine. My daddy worked in the mine. I'm going to work in the mine. Or my grandfather worked on the assembly line. My father worked on the assembly line. I'm going to get a job with the union and work on the assembly line. Even those working class white men who struggle every day had the ability to believe that things would always at least be static, if not better. No black person in this country, no person of color in this country ever took for granted that they would have a job ready for them if they were just hardworking and willing to lift things. People of color always knew better. White folks didn't. We had the luxury of not knowing our country. So when black folks come up against a setback like the recession, that's just like a more extreme version of Monday, y'all.
Pause right there for a second while they give him the hand clap, because I wasn't ready, y'all. I wasn't ready. But either way, though.
You're goddamn right.
Tim cooking. He cooking. Matter of fact, we done with that. I'm sorry, Otis. We don't even need you right now. We need to get that somber shit going on. We need that somber shit, y'all. Get that creme brulee. Get that creme brulee out here. We going somber because he about to kick some asses and tell some people some truths that they don't want to hear. And that's what he's doing. Shout out to School for Justice, Miss Jackson. Marcus said all facts. Hurricane said, whoa, emotionally damaged. He told him to preach. Tim cooking. Tim, look, put him in the pulpit and watch what he do. That's what I tell him sometimes. Put him in the pulpit and see what he do. Because I want one person to come around that sees this video, or one person that might happen to hear his words. And I want them. I only have one question of them. Anybody that might disagree, where is the lie? Only question I have for you. Of everything that he's going to say throughout this video, I want you to tell me where the lie is. And please explain your answer. I'm going to treat you like a school teacher. I want you to tell me what the answer is and explain how you got to that point. Tell me where the lie is, because there is no lie in my honest opinion. But matter of fact, oh yeah, he said he invited to the cookout. Oh yeah, Tim can come to the cookout. Tim can definitely come to the cookout, and he ain't gonna bring no potato salad with no raisins on it. He ain't gonna do that shit because he know that ain't cool. Either way though, Tim, keep cooking.
2/3 of black wealth gets wiped clean, and it's like, yeah, that's pretty much how shit goes. Like, that's, ridiculous and horrible, but we know that. Like, that happens. And white folks have a setback, and all of a sudden we're facing double-digit unemployment, and we don't know what to do with that. Because
I tell you what they do with it, they go shoot up a school. Or shoot up, a Winn-Dixie, or somewhere where some black people at. We got to get it off our chest, because that's normally who is target number one. You know that kid Dylan Roof that went up shut up the church? He was having a bad time, so he decided to go to a black church and knock them off. We ain't gonna forget about Columbine, because y'all remember Columbine was the biggest one. I don't even know if we can even say Columbine on the internet no more. A lot of these young kids growing up don't even know about Columbine. But that kind of sparked off the whole, school shooting type shit. Motherfucker get triggered and just go murk everybody else. And preferably they gonna try to go murk some people of another race. They're not preferably gonna go murk their own, but sometimes they will do that. That's what happens when white folks can't deal with they problems. But they'll sit here and talk about black folks all day long. Tim, keep cooking.
To us, we haven't faced that since the Great Depression. We have no idea how to even cope with that level of setback. See, James Baldwin said it best many years ago. He said, talking about black folks, he said, I don't mean to sentimentalize suffering, but that man who can never suffer, and he used gender specific language, but we can say specifically, the person who can never suffer can never grow up.
Say some real shit.
Can never learn who they really are.
Say some real shit.
Because that
Tim.
man who is forced to snatch his humanity out of the fires of human cruelty that rages to destroy it every day learns something about himself in the process that no school and no church can teach. He gains a sense of his own authority, and that is unshakable, because in order to survive, in order to stay alive, he has to learn to look at the meaning beneath the words. And ultimately, what Baldwin says is that when one is constantly surviving the worst that life has to bring, one ceases to be afraid of the worst that life can bring.
You know, that's real.
And that's the difference. People of color are not afraid in this moment. It's white folks who are freaking out. We're the ones who don't know what to make of it. Whether it's white liberals who are freaking out over the politics of the moment, or it's white conservatives and working class folks in these towns like Western PA who are freaking out about cultural change and they don't know what to make of that. Whatever it is, like, we're all sort of in a system that we don't really understand, and that's actually set us up for this moment. And now we're suffering as a result of it. And white folks are not going to get the relief that they need in Western PA or Ohio or anywhere else in this country, following the siren song of somebody that tells them that black and brown folks are to blame because they're not the source of that problem. That's not why they're hooked on opioids. They're hooked on opioids because that's the way you dull your pain, the pain that you never thought was yours to experience. And Donald Trump is just a walking, talking human opioid, because he comes along. Because what is an opioid, y'all? Pharmacologically now, just scientifically. I'm not trying to be hyperbolic. I'm talking pharmacology. This is science. What is an opioid? Opioid is a thing that only has one purpose. It blocks pain receptors. That's all it does. It doesn't actually fix your problem. If you have a crushed disc in your back, they will give you opioids to deal with the pain. That will not fix the disc. You will need surgery for that. If you have cancer, they might give you opioids to deal with the pain. That will not get rid of the cancer. You will need surgery and possibly chemotherapy in order to heal. Opioids just block the pain. That's what Donald Trump does. He comes along and he says, I can take away your pain and I can tell you what the source of it is. I can't actually fix it, but just take me. I alone, he said, I alone can fix your problem. He is OxyContin with a heartbeat. And these people who have been led to believe that they were never supposed to experience anxiety this way eat it up because we don't know how to deal with setback. That's fragility, as Robin DiAngelo refers to it in the white community. We don't know how to deal with setback. We've never had to deal with it on this level. That's not to say that individual white people have not, but it's to say that an awful lot of white folks had the luxury, the privilege of actually believing the lie of America. And we'd have been a hell of a lot better off if we had just listened to black folks all along. And listen,
You're goddamn right.
The brown folks all along. Our privilege is now killing us. Our privilege of obliviousness is putting us in the grave early. So I think there's a real obvious reason why white folks ought to care about this.
All right, now, y'all, we got Miss Jackson up in the building with a badass echo. So I'm going to be quiet while she talk. Go ahead and tell the people what it is and give me your thoughts so far.
All right, good evening, folks. Kenique Jackson, glad to jump on one more evening. I had something playing in the back. I forgot to hit mute, so hopefully you can hear me pretty clear. But I got to bust a move here shortly, so I'm going to make a comment, and I'll be back probably in another 30 minutes if you're still on. But what makes Mr. Tim so great and so brilliant to me and to all others, my minorities and my people across the world, is that he's a white man. That the fact that he is a white man that's telling the truth and speaking fact from the beginning of time is brilliant. It's totally and it makes all the difference in the world, because we vaguely see that the fact that his kind and his people is our oppressor. So difference. And you know, he keeping it 100 about Mr. Trump, about what's going on in the government right now. And, the Project 2025, it reverts back to that from when we did the show on that a while back during the election. And, and so I just want to just salute my brother. And I got to say it, I'm black and I'm proud. In spite of I'm black and I'm proud, and he confirms facts that we are the original people.
Right about that. And it's crazy how he spoke about the opioid epidemic that we had. And a lot of people need to actually take a time and sit back and look back in time when black folks were struggling with drugs in their communities. What was the response from the white community? As a collective, individual white people, this is not for you. If you ain't with the bullshit, I'm going to tell you time and time again, this ain't your fucking fight. We not coming at you. But when there was an issue in the black community with drug use, the response from the white community and America was lock them niggas up. That was the response. We had the crack epidemic. Lock them all up. If they selling it, lock them up. If they use it, lock them up. Now, soon we get a little few years down the road, and white folks tripping out on these painkillers. These Percocets, these Oxycontin, these Lortabs. Instead of giving the same response that you gave to them black and brown folks, what did y'all do? We need to give them help. We came from a situation of being strict and law and order to being, we need to have compassion. The point that he is making, where white folks ain't built for this shit, is true. Because you've never had to go through. That's why a lot of black folks are sitting back when it comes to a lot of the issues that are going on right now, like the immigration. We sitting back chilling. When it comes to Trump, a lot of black folks ain't saying shit about it. We've been here. We done did it. What's the point of us bitching about it? Now me, here being on social media, I'm going to call out the dumb shit because it's easy for content. I'm like, motherfucker do something stupid. I'm going to call it out. But for the average black person, they going about their fucking business every day. They doing the same thing they doing every goddamn day because they know ain't nothing really finna change until the other people actually fucking decide to figure out that this is kind of fucked up. It's kind of fucked up. We might want to fucking change this. Kind of fucked up. Just like Martin Luther King and Malcolm X them had to show them beating folks on the Edith Pettus Bridge down here in Alabama, down there in Selma. White folks had to see that shit. We was already dealing with the shit. But it's going to take y'all to fucking come around and be like, yeah, it's kind of fucked up. Right now, when it comes to every problem that we have in this country, like I promise you, it's not the black folks that's your problem. It's not them Hispanic folks that's your problem. It's your own people, bro. Because y'all been the only ones that run this shit. Y'all been the only ones running it. So who else you going to blame?
Oh, yeah, man. And I'm going to say this real quick, and I got to drop off. But, and I'll jump back on, try to catch you for you in the live. But, man, it's like this. When we do it, it's a problem. But when they do it, it's all good. You see what I'm saying? It's not a problem until it reaches in their community, in their neighborhood, and in their culture. So that's just the hypocrisy of our nation and of America. But I'll get back with you here shortly. I got to make a quick run, and I'll try to jump back on for you in your live.
All right, man. I'll be here for a second. Yeah, I'm gonna be here for a minute because his live stream an hour and a half, and we already done wasted probably about 20 minutes talking. So that's perfect. You'll be able to get back in time. That's what's up.
Okay. All right, folks. All right, fam.
All right, now check it. Let Tim keep cooking. And the sad part, I'm gonna speed him up a little bit, y'all, just to make sure.
Don't tell me about me. Stop telling me.